Howdy, it's Matt. Now, this episode is going to be the build overview episode to the Micro Skyhunter, but also there's going to be a part 2 which is about an hour long, which is the whole build of the Micro Skyhunter. Now, the reason why I'm doing 2 episodes on this is because you may just want the build overview, just the quick and short version, which this is the quick and short version. If you want to join me on the workbench and just enjoy me just having a chit chat and go through the processes of actually putting this model together, then that's part 2, and that's a separate episode, and I'll put a link to that in the top right or left hand corner of your screen. Okay, so like I said, this one's just the build overview. So in my hand is the finished article, and I can tell you I have absolutely ragged this one within an inch of its life on 3S and 4S, and I can also discuss some of the future upgrades which I've got planned for this model too. So let's start at the nose and we'll work our way to the rear. So the first thing which I did is that I've seen other people make these models and do reviews on them, and the one thing which I hated about what other people did is that they just stuck on these little all-in-one cameras on the canopy, and I didn't like it because I really like this little black window at the top, and I wanted to keep that. So my favorite mod which I've done is that I've just been, and I'll put this on the camera for you. There we go. Can you see that I've got the RunCam Owl Plus embedded down through this top black piece of canopy into the wooden mount underneath? Now, I've explained my reasoning for doing that, but how did I do it? And the answer is actually very straightforward. Underneath the black canopy, which you'll see on yours, is that there's a piece of plywood, and all I did was work out the center point, work out roughly where I wanted the camera, and then I put 2 screws in, and then I put down the black canopy on top, and then that told me where the outside edges should be by putting the mount upside down on there, and then cut it out, and then just progressively cut it from the top downwards until I had a really nice flush mount in there. And that's the one piece which I'm most happy about with this model. Oh, there's also some irony for you as well. That RunCam Owl cost more than the actual model itself. I don't know if you saw my previous episodes on the Micro Skyhunter, is that I did spot that we could buy the parts for this model cheaper than buying the whole kit as a whole. Work that one out. So I paid about 30 quid all in for the whole model. Super impressed with it. And like I said, the RunCam Owl Plus, the FPV camera, actually cost more than what the model cost. Work that one out. Crazy fun. Now, staying with the front area, one of my biggest tips for you, besides that nose area, which is, for the FPV camera, which is very aesthetically pleasing, from a very practical point of view, is that what I elected to do was put some glass fiber tape on the bottom of the fuselage area, and I've been and used some clear 75 micron laminate underneath, and that has worked really, really well. I'm super impressed with that laminate and the glass tape combination. That's worked really, really well, and she just comes in and skids along the grass. Works really, really well. Moving into the fuselage, actually not going much further, and I'll need to show you on the webcam, because if I show you just there, can you see that I've been and dug out some of that bottom tray there? Okay, the reason why I did that is because I could fit a 1.3 1300 milliamp hour 3S battery in there, easy peasy. But I've also got some 1300 4S batteries which wouldn't fit in there. That canopy wouldn't close down. So I just carved out underneath the canopy. That means that I can get the battery in there. A little note around the C of G is that when I am using even a 1.3 3S battery, is that I am having to ram it right back down into the hole of the model trying to get the C of G right. And I can tell you, every time I've flown this, excuse me, is that it has been nose heavy. Okay, you'll find out why that's not going to be an issue in a few moments time. So anyway, moving on to the receiver, I'm using the Tyrannus, or I'm using the D4R2 receiver. I did procrastinate, in other words, put off and sleep on it a couple of nights to work out what layout I was going to do for the receiver, what I ended up doing is putting the receiver on the tray underneath the wings, and then I've got one antenna coming out across here, across the nose, and the other one I've just got dangling up here at the top. The one thing which I probably really should do is put that in a little antenna tube, and then so it's at 90 degrees to each other like that. Now, when it comes to the wings, a big tip for you, and this, I can tell you, I flew this one into a tree when, yeah, it came away with a tiny little dent on the wing, and the reason why it only came away with a tiny little dent is all I did was I put some sellotape, so half on the top, half on the bottom, all the way along the leading edges of both wings. Also down here on the elevator fin as well, I did the same down there too. And that really did make it tough, and I really did plow it into that tree, and it's come on. There's no point me even trying to show you on the webcam because it's a tiny little nick, because that sellotape just did its job really, really well. When it comes to the video transmitter, let me just see if you can see that there. I've mounted the video transmitter in the wing. You'll see that there's two pieces of carbon fiber either side, and the reason why I did that is because I'm using a cable tie fixing on there. And it is actually a reusable cable tie, so if I need to get to the switches or the button on the back of the video transmitter, I can do on the flight line very, very easily. And underneath, I'll just point out the wiring. The wiring just runs across with a little piece of Blenderm across there and goes into the hold. On the opposite side, I've got Velcro on the top and on the bottom, and the reason for that now gives me options whether I put the RunCam 2 on the top, like so you can see her like that, or if I wanted to, I could put the RunCam 2 underneath the wing as well. So that seems to have worked really, really well. For the elevons, I have reinforced them with some Blenderm tape. I have a separate video tutorial on that which shows you the right way of doing that. That's on my YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed, remember to hit subscribe on this video so that you get tips like that one and the other ones which come out in the future too. And I'll put a link to that one in the video description for you. As far as the servos go, I'm just using standard 5-gram plastic geared servos. They seem to have done really, really well, considering I have run this on 4S and came the living daylights out of it at around about 90 to 100 miles an hour. No issue at all with them. So standard servos. When it comes to the motor and the ESC, I'm using the Hobby King 30 amp blue ESC. Seems to have worked really, really well. And the motor which I'm using is a DYS 2205 2300 kV motor with a 6x4 APC propeller. Absolutely bonkers combination. And you can run that, you could probably run that on 2S if you've got plenty of 2S batteries. For me, I've got loads of 3S batteries, so I normally fly this one on 3S. Brilliant, loads of power, and I mean like loads and loads of power. But for those of you which want to go a little bit faster, same motor, same prop combination, stick it on 4S, and it is absolutely mental. And if you check my YouTube channel, you'll see me not only chucking this one around on 3S, but you'll also see me trying to race this thing, this little thing which cost me 30 quid, okay, bar a few pence, you know, against a Skyhunter with a motor 3 times the size. And I can tell you, I made Dave sweat. Now, we'll come back to where I'm taking this model in a few moments' time. The tail booms, I use goop glue to hold the tail booms on, so we turn her up the other way. These tail booms are glued in with goop glue, plumb-in version. You can use other glues, but that's my go-to glue. I have a lot of confidence in that glue. That's why I used it on both of the tail boom connectors. The tail boom up here, I did actually, the elevator fin up here, I did actually use hot glue up there because I wanted to get that part in and then leave the goop glue overnight to set. The hot glue is done really, really well. But that said, what I have started to notice is some of the parts at the back. You probably won't be able to see that on the webcam, but the part here, this rudder fin, has been and started to come loose. So I will try and break that apart a little bit more and then put some of my own glue down there as well. So if there's only one tip which you take away from watching this episode, is check all of your glue joints, okay? So when I received all the parts individually, they were actually pre-made, which made the actual building the model really, really straightforward. But remember, you didn't glue them, so you don't have 100% confidence in them. So do check all of the glue joints. The tray underneath is really simple to work. It came pre-fitted. I just put some Velcro inside there. The one biggest, well, again, another big tip for you is that I have reinforced all of the carbon spars in here. When it comes as a kit, that you've got carbon spars or glass fiber spars going across the model, but there's nothing going across like the center section, the join of the wings. So I put 3 additional carbon spars all the way across. So that was some 1mm by 4mm carbon fiber strip, and I took it out as far as sensible, and you'll see me doing that in the full build episode. Again, sellotape at the back. I'm just using a bit of Blenderm to hide in the electronics or the servo wire. I did not use, and again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the camera. It's going to be a little bit awkward for me to show you. But over there, you'll see that there's no servo connector underneath there. I elected to solder it and then just dig it in and tape it into the wing so it was nice and secure. So that's it. That's the overview to the Micro Skyhunter. An absolutely brilliant little model. I am personally super stoked because these were like 70 quid or something like that when they first come out. And I built mine, and I'll put links to all of the parts which I'm using in the video description for you. And I'm super impressed because I paid 30 quid or so for the actual model itself. And the irony is the RunCam Owl, the FPV camera on the front, costs more than like the model itself. Obviously excluding like a RunCam 2, for example. But yeah, that costs more than the actual model itself. I had a spare quadcopter motor spare. Again, that's a mental motor. I've had a spare video transmitter. I bought in a couple of RunCam Owls because they're fantastic FPV cameras. And I had all the parts. I had the receiver, I had the ESC, the servos. I had them spare, you know. All these parts I had available to me. It meant that I could just use parts out of my parts boxes and just get and blatantly just rag the nuts off a super cheap model. Now, if you're wondering what this model flies like, I've got loads of flight footage on my YouTube channel for you. Basically, I'll give you a quick overview. It's really, really good fun on 3S. Loads of power. 99% of you watching this will be really, really happy on 3S. I actually raced this one against a Skyfun with a D2836 2200 kV motor on the Skyfun, and I ran this one on 4S. And I did make the Skyfun sweat. He was having to run, or Dave was having to run about 75% throttle, maybe a little bit more, to keep up with this model. Where am I taking this model now? I've got an NTM prop drive 2836 3000 kV motor. I will be putting a 100 amp ESC in the front of there, and tonight I'm going to see if I can get a pair of 4S 1.3 Tonergy Nano A-spec batteries in the actual fuselage here, so that I can ensure that I win on the next race. But that's me taking it to the extremes. You do not need to take this model to the extremes. It's very, very stable in the air. On a perfect flying day, you can fly it very, very slowly. It's got no nasty tendencies to like tip stall or drop a wing or do anything untowards on you. On a windy day, it does waggle a bit in the sky, and I've flown it on some really windy days now. My answer to that was to give it some more throttle. It was as simple as that. Just fly faster and fly through whatever the wind conditions are. Absolutely brilliant model. I personally am very, very happy with it, and I'm so happy that I waited to buy one of these because I got the actual model itself for an absolute song, like 30 quid-ish for the parts separately. I've broken the wingtip off, And one of my major markers is that if I absolutely annihilated this model tomorrow in a tree or in a very bad unscheduled landing, I would personally immediately go and buy another one. Okay, it's a fantastic little model. I am very, very impressed with it for the sake of 30 quid. I had all the, like I said, already had all the parts here. It's been really, really good fun. And if you want to know how much fun I've had with it, look on the YouTube channel. There's 10 episodes of me chucking this one around, and I can tell you there is going to be a lot more of this one just being bashed around the sky, because basically I don't care. It cost me 30 quid. The only bit which I really care about is the RunCam Owl on the front. The rest of it, it doesn't matter if I fly it in a tree. It doesn't matter if I ground it or do something bad to it, because the whole model, like I said, I've said it numerous times now, it cost me 30 quid or so. Brilliant little thing. Absolute bonkers. Great fun in the sky. Amazing for FPV. Really is. Nice and stable. Oh, those of you which are thinking about, Matt, can I put a flight control board in here, like an Eagle Tree Vector or similar, like a Cyclops or something like that? The short answer is categorically yes. I'm not going to take the wings off my one to show you, but I can tell you it would be very, very easy to fit a Eagle Tree Vector inside of here. You could get the GPS unit out on the wing very, very easily, and it would fit in there perfectly fine without question. Okay, so yeah, you can put advanced electronics in this model if you wanted to, but realistically, you don't need to do that. Oh, the other thing which I want to point out is that I'm using a 6x4 prop with this motor. You could put in a 8-inch prop on the back of this model very, very easily. You would still have space to spare. You might have issues around torque roll, but if you put that aside for a moment, you could put the Sunny Sky X2216 1250 kV motor. You could easily put that on the back with an 8x6. You would have an unbelievable amount of of thrust, should I say, and because you've got the bigger motor at the back, you would be able to get a bigger motor in the front, and you would definitely be able to get some medium range FPV out of this model, and still have loads of juice left in the battery to get back home again, and then have a muck around when you're back home too. So with that said, I sincerely hope that you have found this episode helpful. I really do like my Micro Skyhunter, and remember, I bought this model out of my own money so that I could rag the nuts off it, and I can assure you, I've ragged the nuts off this one and some more, and I'm going to do even more bad things to it as well in the future. I'm very, very happy. So if you have enjoyed this episode, do me a favor, press the thumbs up underneath this video. If you're not subscribed yet, remember to hit the subscribe button too. And if you have any questions about this model, remember, I bought this model out of my own cash so that I could rag the nuts off it. If you have a question, pop it in the comments section underneath this episode, and you will get an honest answer back. So with that said, from myself, Matt, and the Micro Skyhunter, thank you ever so much for watching this episode, and cheerios!